Sports can help students gain social skills and confidence that they never had before. A high schooler named Noah Van Voren, who has Down syndrome, was on the football team at his high school, but he had only helped out on the sidelines as the water boy. One day, his team decided they wanted to repay him for all of his hard work with the team and got the other team to agree to let Noah score his very first touchdown.
I'm a touchdown. I did great.
As the crowd erupted, many were visibly moved by the sportsmanship. None more than Van Voren's parents, Kara and Todd.
You know, he was born 18 years ago, and the doctors told us that he would never be able to walk, talk, or do anything. And then to see him 18 years later to do this is amazing. It's amazing. And to have a community as a Little Chute to back him up and to love him the way they do is breathtaking. You can't put it in words. You really can't.
A writer named Amanda Ripley has presented an argument against high school sports, insisting that they are costly, bad for a student's health both physically and mentally, and are affecting the student's attendance and academic success. The strongest argument that Ripley introduces is the cost of sports. The principal of a school called Fremont figured out that he can save $150,000 each year by suspending sports. It costs $1,300 for each player, while it only costs $618 for each math student.
With a school like Fremont, I imagine there's bigger savings to be found by canceling sports than at a school like Parker, just because I know football is an incredibly expensive sport. And if it's a bigger school with more investment in their sports programs, because what did you say it was, $150,000? I have no idea what Parker's athletic budget is, but I'd be surprised if it's that big. But I have no idea.
I don't know the exact dollar amounts. What I do know is it's a lot. And actually, I believe I'm correct in saying that if you look at the different departments of the school, that athletics actually has the biggest budget of each of the departments. Most of that is due to transportation costs to get people to and from games and practices and fields.
I think that the benefits of high school sports, the educative benefits, are important, and the emphasis on fitness and good health are all really important goals. And I don't think at the school that I work at now, there is a disproportionate amount of funding dealt towards athletics in exclusion of other opportunities.
Many people have made the case against sports because of the injury aspects of them. In October of 2013, PBS reported a statistic that high school football players are estimated to suffer from 11.2 concussions for every 10,000 games and practices. However, it is unclear whether these injuries cause permanent brain damage to the players. Women's high school soccer, however, is the sport with the highest recorded injuries, mostly to the knee and ankles.
So, like, to give an example, I'd say in basketball and volleyball, it's primarily ankle injuries. In football, you see a lot more rib and shoulder injuries. In hockey, you see a lot of shoulder and wrist injuries. And you have severe instances of each of those injuries in all those sports, but it's hard to compare it because it's kind of apples to oranges because the actual impact that the players receive during the game differs.
My guess is some of the more difficult contact sports in terms of where most concussions happen, like say football or rugby or things like that, we don't actually have here, so we are at a luxury of not having to worry about that. But field hockey, soccer, those sports, they still get concussions. I don't know that it necessarily has impacted us in a way of saying should we eliminate those sports for fear of that, because I think there's always, whatever sport you're talking about, there's fear of people getting hurt. I think we just have to be very mindful of what concussions are, what causes them, how to prevent them, and how to treat them effectively.
I had a kid, a couple years ago who was in my U.S. history class who got a concussion during the basketball season, couldn't read a book for like 2 months or something like that, ended up taking an incomplete, and then the incomplete didn't go too well, you know what I mean? So it backed up into the next year and became a problem.
Well, there's an inherent risk to sport. So you have to know that at some time or another you may come across an injury. but I could also go outside my front door and get hit by a bus.
Ripley offers many statistics on how students who play sports perform significantly worse academically than those who do not play sports. After a school named Fremont decided to cut sports entirely from their program, 80% of the students passed their classes, compared with the 50% the previous fall.
It's very difficult for teachers to maintain a sense of continuity in the curriculum when constantly students are being pulled out of class. It's difficult for students who miss the lesson, who have to catch up on it somehow, either by asking friends or meeting with teachers outside of regular class time. In addition, sometimes athletes have very little time to complete work because of all the time that they spend traveling and also at games or matches.
I've never really run into an issue where a student who's missing to leave early for sports doesn't make up the work or doesn't get back on track. I don't believe I've ever seen a student's work suffer for their participation in a sport. I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, here at Parker, I've definitely seen students who are more committed to school during season or in season just because their expectations around maintaining academic standing and attendance and things like that, and they want to maintain their good standing because they're committed to their sport. So I've seen it motivate students in a positive way. I can't think of an example where a student's performance really slipped during an athletic season.
A study in 2010 done by Betsy Stevenson and the University of Pennsylvania shows that increases in the number of girls playing high school sports have historically generated higher college attendance and employment rates among women. Sports have been shown to help students with their social lives. Many students have said that by playing sports, their confidence has gone up and their social skills have improved.
Running hard over long distances is like terribly uncomfortable, and I know that's an obvious thing to say, but it also persistence in the face of wanting to quit. Distance, I'm sure the same thing probably applies to other sports, but that was something that really changed my approach to a lot of things. It really enhanced my ability to put my head down and do the thing I needed to do but I didn't want to do. And that has had broad ranging application in my life. Because I attribute it to cross country and distance running that I have sort of an enhanced ability to focus and do work even when I don't want to do work.
One is time management was very important for me. Two is that I still have really good friends from high school and club leagues that I've played with. So I think that bonding experience, having a group of girls, this is going to sound very girl power-esque, but it's nice to be with a group of girls who are okay with being competitive and okay with being strong and still be feminine. I think that that's a huge issue still in today's society, that sometimes it gets a bad rap.
The University of Michigan did a study in 2010 that suggests that physical activity can help adolescent children develop important skills, such as leadership and empathy. In turn, these skills can influence healthy behaviors. Children who scored highest in leadership skills were more physically active on a weekly basis. These children also showed high scores in empathy. Moderate exercise and participation in team sports also correlated to higher leadership and empathy scores. Although sports are time-consuming, they can actually be very beneficial in a student's academic life.
I think some students feel that they work better and more efficiently when they're in season, so in that sense. The other is when there have been conversations with the student, either from parents, from advisors, from administration, saying if you don't perform at a certain level or if you don't keep up your grades, you will not be permitted to be on the sport. And because the student wants to be involved and loves the sport, they're motivated to change their habits to do better.
The cliche things of time management and good grades and friends, yes, all those really happen, but it was something that I also really loved, that it was a part of me that didn't define me, but was and still is a part of who I am. Soccer gave me a lot that's why I continue to coach and everything along those lines.
The Children's Hospital at the University of Missouri encouraged students to play sports because they require memorization, repetition, and learning skill sets that are directly relevant to classwork. Also, the determination and goal-setting skills sports require can be transferred into the classroom. Another study conducted in 2010 by the American College of Sports Medicine showed that the more active students were, the better they did in school. Most of the students who exercised vigorously did so by playing sports like soccer, basketball, football, baseball, and softball. Although sports can cause injury, they can also highly benefit the health of a student. Not only is the physical activity beneficial to the student's health and can help prevent diseases such as diabetes, sports also encourage students to stay away from drugs and alcohol and even cigarettes. Having this motivation to not partake in drugs and alcohol can help prevent the students from getting deathly diseases such as lung or liver cancer.
I think there are definitely things that we should talk about, reconsider in terms of the benefits and detractions from the academic portion of school, which is of utmost importance. But I think overall, the benefits of having a strong athletics program outweigh not having one. Yes.
After reviewing both sides of the argument, it is clear that sports have a more positive influence on a high school student's life than a negative influence, and that sports should continue to be offered at high schools.